In today's video, we're going to have a look at Kodal Minerals and Premier African Minerals. We have an RNS update from Premier African Minerals. We have, let's just say, a very interesting Stockbox interview with our new Managing Director, Graeme Hill. Kodal Minerals and Premier African Minerals are both benefiting right now for the increase in spodumene prices. All of this will be covered in today's video. Welcome back everyone to Buy Old Sell. I hope, of course, you are all well. So yesterday we had an RNS. Let's just get straight into the thick of the shit. Georgie Roach, in his parting gift, has decided to pay himself back for his loan in shares. Now, we knew the loan was going to be repaid. We've covered it on the channel before, so that's not come as a surprise. But he has chosen to pay himself back in shares at a lovely deflated price, which was on the 11th of June. The issue price of the settlement shares has been set at the same issue price as the last market-based subscription announced on the 11th of June. Considering now that we're in the 22nd of July, that is very nice of him to have done that. And if we actually pull up the charts, we can see that the 11th of June was absolutely rock bottom. And since then, even based on those prices, he is up 74%. So in a world where the rest of us are suffering in pain and we question where a lot of this money has went, this man has decided, I'm going to pay myself on the 11th of June and I'm going to sit with 75% gain on my shares. Well done, Georgie. Thank you for your parting gift. I hope the door doesn't hit you on the way out. Now, we had our Stockbox interview yesterday. I thought, to be honest, it was a very good Stockbox interview. I thought when Mark was engaging with Graeme Hill, there was optimism in Mark's eyes. I've said it before. I just feel like the guy has been caught up in the shit winds that is Premier African Minerals, like most of us. I think, you know, he's had frustrations with George in his interviews. I think his demeanor would suggest that. All speculation. I have no clue at all if the guy is a shareholder, but I have a funny feeling that he potentially is. And he definitely looked a bit more optimistic when he was speaking to Graeme Hill. Graeme Hill, in my opinion, looked very firm, direct, and filled me with optimism. He said one word that really stood out to me, and it was the future. For the last sort of year, there didn't look like there was going to be a future in Premier African Minerals. So I'm very happy to see this man take the reins. I did a video on his details and his background and his history and stuff. If you want to check out that video to get a bit more information about Graeme. He really did deliver on his first interview. I think he said the right things, and I've sort of made a bit of a summary here of some of the key points. He talked that he's been in site several times over the last year. He's really done his due diligence before he's accepted his role as managing director. He didn't just talk about the Zulu project, he talked about the entire Premier African Minerals portfolio, the Tantalum project, Quartz project. That is also good. He's looking at the entire portfolio of assets and how this company can go to new highs. We got an update what's happening on site this week. They're all working very, very hard. And they're entering the final stage of commissioning, and they're hopeful to identify any final issues and get this plant running to the design specs. Unfortunately, the recovery remains inconsistent. While they have made changes and it looks to be showing more improvement, it's still not quite there. Everything is about 5% grade, slightly above. 5% is still sellable. He said, he made it very clear that that's still a good grade. However, we're looking for that 6%. 6% is what we've been quoted before, we've been told before. That's kind of like the gold standard. So that's what we're looking to try and achieve. He did talk briefly about what's going to be required. We need to get the improvement on this. We need to get it above 5.5% at least. 6% is going to get you the top premium for spodumene prices, which is obviously desirable. It's exactly what everybody would want. You would rather have the better grade than the lower grade. Obviously, it's common sense. But the production cost recovery, this is the balancing act that he alluded to. This is where the challenges are. Now, he did go on to say something that he said about the project. I think Mark asked him directly, you know, what are you currently invested in? What gets you excited? And that's what he said. He's excited about this project. He likes challenges. He's taken challenges before. He did allude to his other successes. And we've went through his details. This guy does have a proven track record, and we're very, very hopeful that this man has done his due diligence. He's seen enough. He knows the spodumene. He knows the assets there. Can he get it out? And he feels confident that he can do that. And at this stage, he's got my full backing, and I'm sure most shareholders are fully backing this man to be able to turn this ship around. A second flow plant's been budgeted at around $250,000 and is primed for installation by mid-August if recovery goals require additional capacity. And he did talk more about the Tantalum projects as well. Do recommend you watching the video, especially if you're a PREM shareholder. You need to get a feel for this man. I think he delivered himself well. He looked confident and assured. And his approach sort of had a no-nonsense feel to it. I think he's grabbed the bull by the horn. He has actually quoted saying, this isn't a routine lithium plant. It's complex, but that is what excites him. So he knows what he's got into. He knows this is a bit of a shit show, and he's going to get stuck into it and hopefully be able to turn this around. We can see PREM had a massive pump, obviously, on the back of all this great news initially when in coming in. Stock shot up over 150%. It has cooled off some, down about 30% since then. Today was a green day. It did pump, but it is sold off. Where am I at with it? Well, look, the technical analysis will say, yeah, we've had that big pump, we're cooling off. I would suspect that this is still going to be positive, and I do think the share price will naturally go up. What I've alerted my Discord to, though, is my own personal position on it. It's a shit show. No way around it, guys. It's, the winds of shit have been blowing around a long, long time of this here. But there is optimism and there is a future, as Graeme said, within Premier African Minerals. But for me, I need to invest a significant amount of money to bring my average price down. And that is just something right now that I am not prepared to do, because I think potentially we could have more dilution or fundraising or some sort of financial issue that could definitely sink the share price. That's a major red flag for me. That aside with the fundamental that the plant might just not do what it's going to do. There is still uncertainty around that. And if I'm not saying Graeme Hill is going to have the same problems that Georgie Roach has, but if history has taught me anything, I would rather get certainty before I invest. So I might miss a pump, 100% pump from here. Yeah, easily can miss that. I'm more prepared. I want the fundamentals. This was a long haul for me. I'm not in this to make a quick buck or a quick swing. Because of my position size, to bring my average price down, I need to invest a lot. And if I'm investing a lot, I need to invest my money knowing that it's going to be safe as houses for the next 5 years for me to return my profits back. So that's just where I'm at. I'm waiting for that fundamental news. I am waiting for real certainty that this project is very much back on track. And we'll talk about spodumene prices in a moment, but what I want to talk about now is just have a quick look at the likes of Kodal Minerals chart. You'll see their Kodal Minerals chart, not unlike PREM. It did have a massive pump recently because I think just the general market, the news, the wider market's pumping as well. I think there's just a good bit of optimism about things at the moment. It has sold off, but it has had a decent recovery this last week. It has bounced off the 200-day moving average. Unlike PREM, this is in a bull run. This is a bull market. We're above the 200-day moving average. The RSI, MACD starting to cross over. RSI looks good. Don't really foresee how this would pull back. It's in a great position. The fundamental news that we're waiting on with Kodal is we're looking for the government to say, yeah, crack on, ship it over to China, start getting paid. Don't forget, we get paid 95% at the docks and the other 5% on delivery. This could be poised for a huge pump if that news comes through. That is a fundamental catalyst. That is massive. It's more of a formality for me. Of course, there is a huge risk. You must do your own due diligence. I'm just some guy on YouTube talking utter shite. I have no clue if the government is going to approve this, but if they do, this will pump. You can bet your bottom dollar on it. And from a technical point of view, it is poised nicely. I really do hope Kodal Minerals get this across the line. They've done everything the right way. They've been very efficient. They've been, very little delay in this project. It has been very, very well run by Bernie, a complete contrast to Georgie Roach. But that being said, there is a risk. Do your own due diligence. But for me, that news comes through, this is going to pump. And in the meantime, I think just the optimism will continue to build. And part of the reason why optimism is building, share prices are starting to rise across the entire sector is because spodumene, and again, this is your 5.5 to 6.2 grade. Don't forget, we're looking to get PREM up to 5.5 at least. If that is the case, this is the type of money that they can sell this for, 742 a ton. That is far, far better than the 615 lows that we seen about a month ago. Incredible gains actually on the spodumene prices. Very, very reassuring. Both companies now, if they're able to produce and get this selling and collect money, will be making good profit on this. We're in a good space now. Let these spodumene prices continue. If they go north of 800, that's going to be very, very bullish. I feel for both companies, naturally, good news or bad news, it should push these prices up. I don't want to jinx things. I hate doing that, but I really am hopeful that this is potentially only upside now for both of these companies. But do watch for share raising in PREM as a potential negative, but that might come after another 100% pump, and it might only be a 30-40% drop. So it's really anyone's guess at this stage of how the share price is going to react and how a further round of potential dilution would even affect the thing. So if this is again paper trading, take your own, do your own due diligence, don't hold me accountable at all. But if you were not invested in either of these projects and you like your high risk and you like your African mining, then definitely these prices are looking very attractive right now. For me, I've been nibbling a Kodal. I like my Kodal position. I wouldn't mind a bit more, but just because of that risk, I'm managing my position, but very bullish on Kodal. PREM, I'm 50-50. I still feel like there's strong risks out there. Really, really high risk project at the moment, but it's definitely looking a lot better. And I don't foresee the company going bust anytime soon, which is something that I haven't been able to say for about the last year. So that's a very, very bullish, positive thing as well. I feel more secure with my position size. These were always a 10-year hold. We're only halfway there, 20-30 play. I feel optimistic. Leave your comments down below. What's your thoughts on spodumene prices? What's your thoughts on the both of the projects? Are you invested in both? Are you invested in either? What's your thoughts? Some people are bullish. Some people are quite negative, thinking it's dead money. This story has a lot more chapters to write before we get to the final one. So let's just see where it goes. Please like, subscribe, help me grow the channel. See you all guys in the next video. Peace.